Plasterboard. I'm holding the last piece, guys. Remember when we did that with timber? Now that I've got your attention, let's talk about plasterboard, supply chain, the government, and one use. Honestly, does the government do anything quickly and easily? Yo, guess what? One news is showing up on site. They saw our GIB video last week. There's an error. We accidentally ordered 100 houses of GIB too much and we shit on our local builders in the process. And they've asked to come and have a chat about it and get our perspective on why the system is broken. So we're gonna do an interview soon. Cool, see you.
So do you just build it up a hut? Or?
Hutt Valley mainly. I've done a little bit in town in Porirua, but it's just gotten insanely busy over the last year. Like in the past, I've gone all the way out to the Kapiti coast, but the further you get away, the harder it is to like just pop in and resolve issues.
Oh yeah.
I've even taken the time to write some notes. Basically, it needs to be easier to find and use alternative products. I think the system's broken. Cool, man. Hey Sam, do you reckon we should vlog with one of these?
I'd get real strong.
Guys, I'm just on site. So you wanted to talk more about the regulation side of things, eh?
Yeah, so initially just, what you guys have said, what your experience is, and then we'll just go over what you think the regulations are that are holding things back.
Yeah, for sure. What should I do with my hands then?
Just be natural.
Hey, Josh.
This builder is used to fixing things. Now he wants to help fix the GIB crisis.
Most of our sites have had anywhere from a 4 to 8 week delay. They're just sitting there waiting for GIB. We can't do anything else until it arrives.
And how frustrating is that?
Yeah, it's really frustrating. I think the worst part is that there's no certainty around that.
If there were more different plasterboard options, more options, would you be wanting to take those up, or you really just want a GIB?
The moment we found out about the delays on GIB, we looked at alternatives such as elephant board. Unfortunately, another major player left the market last year. There's just no incentive for us as the builders or designers or even the council. There's no incentive for any of us to use alternatives. It's really hard to get those products through once they're on the plans.
He has a message for the government.
This scenario has been created by GIB and Winstones and Fletchers just playing the game the way that it's been handed out to them. There needs to be something done to allow new players to come into the market and make it easier for people like us to access the product. To get a product into New Zealand and get it approved by brands and by NBIE and get it approved to be used on our building sites is a really tedious, hard process. Once it's through that process, it then goes on a consented set of plans, and then once it's on those plans, it's really hard for us on site to change from anything other than that product. So honestly, from my perspective, I think that there's too much regulation, and the more we regulate the system, the more broken it becomes. This has been true of multiple governments over the last decades. I get it, they want homes to be safe, they want them to last a lifetime, but I feel like the more they try to impose rules on the system, the more expensive houses become, the harder they become to build, and the more we all get herded into using a certain type of product. Honestly, does the government do anything quickly and easily?
Tough regulation means very few plasterboard products are permitted here.
Yes, I am concerned. If you're producing plasterboard from an accredited place around the world, you should be, as a right, be able to bring that into New Zealand and to be used in New Zealand on a site like this.
Surely us in New Zealand can be okay using them as well.
Cool, that's brilliant, really good stuff. You're a natural on TV here.
Thanks.
That really covered off everything I needed.
In front of me?
Oh my god, this is oh, but
Yeah. Should we try it again? Do you need to put a sheet up somewhere? Do you want to get an action shot?
oh yeah.
My mullet look okay?
Do you need a hand with that sheet, Jared?
It's a two-man job.
This looks like a job for an NZ builder. Should I flick that wire out for you?
Yeah. Yeah. We'll talk about that bracing unit.
Yeah.
I actually screwed up behind that bracing unit.
Oh.
I put power points in the wrong place and I didn't cut them out. The place is going to fall down.
Yeah, cool.
You're not going to use the audio from that, are you?
Or you would go here and you sit on the slab thing. Well, that was cool. I hope that not only does it reach a wider audience, but it actually ends up in front of the people making the rules that affect how we go about our daily work. That would probably be the most ideal outcome. A great example of the regulations are we have an inspection tomorrow to inspect the bracing elements on the jib. Personally, I think the whole bracing with plasterboard is a little bit of a joke, but we're just following the rules the way that we've been taught to. The plasterer was here and he was ready to crack on and keep doing his job, but he's now had to go away for another 24 hours until that inspection, because we can't cover up all of those screws with plaster, because then the council doesn't know if we put them in there or not. Building a house is already complicated, not including the government and the council and the supply chain issues. They've developed this LBP system and they're trying to put more accountability on the builders, but then they're also still trying to make them navigate the system their way. Basically, I think everyone's just trying to pass the liability onto someone else and no one wants to get stuck. I think there's got to be a middle ground, especially if they want us to continue to pump out houses and catch up with this housing crisis shortage. We've got to be able to streamline the process a little bit better. Part of that is GIB and plasterboard, and part of that is the supply chain issue, but it's also the fact that we're locked into using one product because it's ended up on the council plans and it's ended up as a bracing element on that wall and that wall and that wall, and then that means the council has to inspect it, so it's chewing up not only our time and my builder's time, it's chewing up the council's time. They're coming to check screws in plasterboard rather than dealing with real issues. Man, this stuff takes ages. This takes way longer than Sam and I making a video.